Just after giving birth, I was abruptly roused from my slumber by a youthful voice. Mom, please wake up. The bad person is going to take me away. As I groggily opened my eyes, I beheld a nurse cradling my precious infant. Instantly, I became alert and exclaimed, "What are you doing?" The masked nurse froze, her demeanor betraying her guilt as she explained, "Well, I need to take the baby for a bath. All newborns must have a bath first." As doubt clouded my mind, the voice continued, "Mom, don't believe her. She wants to switch me with someone else." Ignoring my astonishment at the source of the voice, I hurriedly rose and clutched the nurse's clothing tightly. In the midst of this tugging, my husband entered the room. Just as relief washed over me, I was suddenly gripped by a chilling realization. It's this scoundrel of a father who intends to exchange me for his illegitimate daughter, making Mom raise another child. I gazed at Gu Luqing in astonishment, then shook my head inwardly. He is my husband of 3 years, and I am acutely aware of his fervent desire for this child. How could there possibly be an illegitimate daughter, let alone a scheme to swap my child? Suppressing the turmoil within me, I addressed him. "Luqing, please hand the baby to me and ensure that this suspicious nurse is taken by security for an identity check." Gu Luqing calmly settled beside me, gently reassuring, "My dear, what are you saying? I have seen this nurse. She is here to take the baby for a bath. Once she's done, you can hold our sweet little girl." Yet, recalling the strange voice I had just heard, my heart tightened. I had not even had a chance to glimpse my daughter since her birth. If someone were to take her and swap the wristband, it would be impossible to identify her. I fixed my gaze on Gu Luqing, insisting once more, "Let me see our daughter first. I want to wait until my parents arrive before she is taken for a bath." Unexpectedly, Gu Luqing, who typically indulges my every whim, maintained, "Dear, please listen. Focus on resting. I will take care of our baby." He turned to the nurse, frowning, "What are you standing around for? Hurry and take the baby for her bath." The nurse cast a dark glance at me before hastily attempting to leave with my child in her arms. At that moment, the childish voice echoed once more, "It's over. It's over. After finally being born to a rich and beautiful mother, I haven't even enjoyed a day of fortune before being swapped to endure hardship. Baby's heart is heavy. Baby wants to cry." Seeing my daughter on the verge of being taken away, I felt an overwhelming sense of unease. Without hesitation, I pressed the emergency call button. Soon, nearby doctors and nurses rushed in to ascertain my issue. When I finally held my child in my arms, I breathed a sigh of relief. Yet the source of the voice remained elusive. Gu Luqing stood by, as anxious as ever about my well-being. For a moment, I thought I was imagining things and chuckled to myself, attributing it to my heightened anxiety. Looking down at my fair, delicate daughter, I couldn't resist gently poking her tiny face. To my surprise, she smiled back at me, and I realized the voice was emanating from her. Mommy protected me so well. Lying in her arms, I can finally get a good night's sleep. Baby is so tired. But there's something under me that feels uncomfortable. Should I cry a bit? I wonder if she understands. I quickly reached beneath her, discovering my phone pressed against her. Once I removed it, her little mouth, which had just pouted, curled back into a satisfied yawn as she drifted off to sleep. I was left utterly astonished. I could actually hear my daughter's thoughts. Did that mean Gu Luqing's infidelity and his intent to swap the child were indeed true? 2. Upon returning home after my discharge, Gu Luqing introduced a nanny to me, stating, "Shinji Wei, this is the postpartum caregiver I hired, Zhang Guilan. She will look after you and the baby from now on." I scrutinized the woman, who appeared to be in her 50s, and once again, I heard the baby's thoughts. "No, no. This woman is the mother of the mistress. She will surely bully us. Mommy, please drive her away." I tightened my hold on my daughter, my voice turning cold. "Gu Luqing, I do not like this woman. Please send her away. I have already arranged for a nanny who will arrive shortly." Gu Luqing, displaying a hint of exasperation, replied, "The nanny you hired has suffered an unexpected injury, which is why I sought out someone else. It's too late to change now. Let her care for you for a few days, and if it doesn't work out, I'll find someone else, all right?" I insisted firmly, "No, let her leave now." A flicker of impatience crossed Gu Luqing's eyes as he glanced at his incessantly vibrating phone. His brow furrowed in concern. "All right, I understand you are feeling unstable right now, but I have urgent matters at the company to attend to. You need to rest. We can discuss this when I return." Without waiting for my response, he opened the door and hurriedly departed. Zhang Guilan cast me a furtive glance. But upon meeting my gaze, she quickly donned a broad smile. Madam, let me hold the child. I have experience with 6 or 7 babies. You can trust me. I evaded her outstretched hands, retreating to my room to immediately call for another nanny, who would arrive the next day, though I was unsure of this woman's intentions. I remained exceedingly vigilant, ensuring she had no opportunity to interact with my baby. Once the new nanny arrived, I would be able to investigate Gu Luqing's infidelity. However, as I made my way to the bathroom, I suddenly heard my daughter's cries and dashed out. To my horror, I found Zhang Guilan attempting to force a bottle into my daughter's mouth. Upon noticing me, she plastered a stiff smile on her face. The child is hungry and crying. Once she drinks, she will be fine. The thoughts of my daughter echoed in my mind. This wicked woman is using cold water to prepare my milk. If I drink it, my stomach will hurt. Mommy, save me. I rushed forward and snatched the bottle from her, discovering it was indeed cold. Enraged, I exclaimed, "How could you prepare milk with cold water? Don't you have any common sense? This could make the baby ill." She merely scoffed, dismissing my concern. "It's not that serious. I've raised many children this way. You rich folks are just overly delicate. Children raised like that lack resilience and are prone to illness." Her curse upon my daughter sent a wave of fury through me, and I pointed towards the door, shouting, "Get out. We do not need you here." The false smile on Zhang Guilan's face faltered as she retorted coldly, "Mr. Gu hired me. What right do you have to dismiss me? Just because you have a daughter. What is there to be proud of?" As she spoke, she suddenly fell silent, casting me a disdainful glance before deliberately slamming the door behind her as she exited my room. My forehead throbbed with tension, and it took several deep breaths to quell my rising anger. While preparing fresh milk for my daughter, I passed by Zhang Guilan's room and overheard her loudly engaged in a video call. "My dear, Gu Luqing's true love is you. Hasn't he even glanced at Xin Jiwei and her illegitimate child, rushing to care for you both instead?" The woman on the other end of the call let out a triumphant laugh. "Of course. Gu Luqing was so nervous holding our child earlier that his hands were shaking. If it weren't for the agreement binding him to that woman, he would have divorced her and married me by now." I even heard Gu Luqing's voice, filled with excitement. Xin, the baby just smiled at me. She's so adorable." My fists clenched tightly, a chilling wave of realization coursing through me. Since our daughter's birth, Gu Luqing had used fear as an excuse to avoid holding her even once. He had just claimed to have urgent matters at the company when in reality, he was eager to embrace his illegitimate child. Zhang Guilan continued, "Though this plan to swap the children has failed, I will ensure that Xin Jiwei is kept in check. You should focus on nurturing your relationship with Gu Luqing. Quickly give him a son to secure your hold on his heart." My hands gripped so tightly that my palms bled, my body trembling with rage. It became clear that Gu Luqing truly intended to swap my daughter. Had I not heard my daughter's thoughts in time, I would have remained blissfully unaware. Unknowingly raising his illegitimate child. They had plotted so cunningly. 3. When Gu Luqing married me, he was destitute. It was my parents who provided the funds for him to start a business, enabling him to attain his current status and wealth. We signed a prenuptial agreement stating that the party who committed infidelity would leave with nothing. Once I regained my composure, I immediately called Lawyer Chen to draft a divorce agreement. Uncertain, Lawyer Chen inquired, "Miss Shin, are you certain you want to proceed with this?" After confirming my intentions, he promptly replied, "Understood. Please await my news tomorrow. I will ensure your satisfaction." As I hung up the phone and turned around, I was met with the piercing gaze of Zhang Guilan, who was peering through the crack of the door. A chill of terror coursed through me, and I exclaimed, "Who permitted you to enter my room? Leave this instant." Instead of retreating, Zhang Guilan pushed the door open and darkly declared, "Xin Jiwei, I overheard everything. You intend to divorce Gu Luqing and wish for him to leave with nothing." Clenching my phone tightly, I replied with feigned calm, "This is a matter for my family. It has nothing to do with you." A flicker of malice crossed her plump face as she advanced toward me, saying, "You shameless wretch, stop pretending. Did you not hear me on the phone just now? Gu Luqing's money will belong to my daughter henceforth. If you force him to leave with nothing, you will ruin my daughter's future, which concerns me greatly." Her fierce gaze sent shivers down my spine, and I shouted, "Get out of here immediately, or I will call the police." I raised my hand to dial for help, but she violently knocked my phone away. She seized my hair and struck me several times, causing a ringing in my head and blood to trickle from my mouth. Zhang Guilin pointed at me, berating, "What do you think you are? How dare you raise a finger at me? You merely had the fortune to marry Gu Luqing a few years back. Had he encountered my daughter first, all this wealth would have rightfully been hers." I struggled against her grip, but my weakened state rendered me powerless against her robust hands. I could only claw at her face indiscriminately, and, in a moment of luck, I must have struck a sensitive spot. She released me with a hiss, clutching her reddened eye and vowing, "You little harlot, you dare to strike me. Today, you shall witness my wrath." She roughly dragged me into the bathroom, thrusting my head toward the filled bathtub while cursing, "You, a leech living off Gu Luqing, have borne a child that is equally a leech. After occupying my daughter's rightful place for so long, it is time you relinquished it. I advise you to divorce Gu Luqing and leave with nothing. Or I will make sure you regret it today." How absurd. Gu Luqing built his fortune with my family's support, yet to others, it seems I am the one taking advantage of him, being supported by him. The lines between who is the true benefactor and who is the dependent have blurred. I managed to break free from the water's grasp, my face pale as I gritted my teeth and exclaimed, "On what grounds? Without me, what is Gu Luqing worth? I have already informed my lawyer about the divorce. He will receive not a single penny. You can await the collapse of your beautiful dreams." Zhang Guilin retorted fiercely, "You." Just then, our commotion awakened my daughter, who began to cry. Zhang Guilin let go of me, a cruel smile creeping across her face as she walked toward the door. Ignoring my frail condition, I mustered all my strength to push her cumbersome body aside and scrambled to pick up my daughter. My mind raced with the urgent need to ensure her safety and to seek help. I hurried toward the front door, my hand barely on the doorknob when I heard my daughter's heartfelt plea, "What should I do? Daddy, the scoundrel, is back. Grandma and Grandpa, come save Mommy and the baby." Before I could reach the door, it swung open and Gu Luqing, upon seeing my disheveled state with the baby in my arms, exclaimed in alarm, "Wife, what happened to you? You must not come into contact with cold water during your confinement. Quickly, dry yourself off." Before I could respond, Zhang Guilin had finally risen from the bathroom floor. Rubbing her waist, she yelled, "I heard this wretched woman say she wants a divorce, and for you to leave with nothing. You must stop her." Gu Luqing's expression darkened, realizing I had uncovered his infidelity. He forcefully closed the door, his gaze toward me tinged with panic. "Xin Jiwei, listen to me. No one can replace you in my heart." I fixed him with a steely glare and coldly replied, "Gu Luqing, if you still value our years together, step aside." Gu Luqing lowered his head, hesitating. Zhang Guilin, desperate, urged, "Don't let her leave. She intends to find a lawyer, and if she escapes, we will lose everything. Your daughter has been with you for so many years. How can you leave with nothing and face her?" Gu Luqing stiffened, and when he raised his head again, his eyes were icy cold. "Xin Jiwei, you need to return to your room and calm down. We can discuss our matters slowly." I was utterly disillusioned, raising my hand. I struck him hard across the face and shouted, "Gu Luqing, what do you intend to do? How long do you think you can keep me confined? Do you truly believe my parents are pushovers?" Gu Luqing, however, said nothing, his expression complex as he locked me and our daughter in the room. Once he stepped out, I quickly retrieved my phone, which had been knocked away during the scuffle, and without hesitation, I dialed the police. Just as I finished the call, Gu Luqing entered with a glass of milk, furious. He hurled the milk to the ground and snatched my phone, smashing it into pieces. "Xin Jiwei, you actually called the police? I told you we could discuss this. I can explain everything regarding Xin Xin. Why must you force me like this? Seeking to ruin me and this family?" I couldn't help but laugh coldly at his audacity. "Gu Luqing, do you still have any shame? What do you mean I am ruining you? You are the one who cannot control your desires and has strayed. I intend to divorce you. Prepare to leave with nothing." Gu Luqing's chest heaved violently, his voice rising sharply. "On what basis do you demand I leave with nothing? Just because of a broken agreement? You think you can take everything? Everything I possess is a result of my own hard work. It has nothing to do with you." I glared at him, grinding my teeth. "Gu Luqing, you ungrateful wretch. Have you forgotten who provided you with your first capital to start your business? Who has invested in you multiple times? Without my parents' unwavering support, you would likely still be unable to afford a house today." Gu Luqing's face flushed with anger. "I knew you all looked down on me. Without your family, I would still achieve my current success." As our argument escalated, a knock at the door interrupted us. The police had arrived. Gu Luqing shot me a furious glance and left with a warning. Shin Jiwei, you've borne my child. I have ways to keep you in check. He locked me in the room as he opened the door for the officers. I had no idea what they were discussing outside, but this was my only chance to seek help. I banged on the door and shouted loudly. When the door swung open, I rushed forward, grabbing the officer's sleeve. Officer. I called the police. They are abusing and mistreating me and my child, and they are restricting my freedom. One of the officers, with an inscrutable expression, asked. According to what we've gathered, this Mr. Gu Luqing is your husband, and this is the nanny he hired for you. Why are they mistreating you? Without thinking, I babbled. Because Gu Luqing is cheating. He has a mistress and an illegitimate daughter. This woman is the mistress's mother. He fears I will make him leave with nothing. So he is keeping me locked up. Please help me. The two officers exchanged glances, shaking their heads in resignation. It appears to be severe postpartum depression. They see their loved ones as enemies. We've encountered several cases like this. You should take her to see a psychologist. Gu Luqing sighed at the opportune moment. I will. I apologize for the trouble. I appreciate your visit. A chill ran through me as I realized Gu Luqing's intentions. The officers recorded a few notes and prepared to leave. I tried to stop them, but Gu Luqing firmly held me in his grasp, yelling, I am not suffering from postpartum depression. I am speaking the truth. Please do not leave. The door was firmly shut before my very eyes. Gu Luqing cast me to the ground and struck me with a harsh slap, revealing his icy demeanor. Shin Jiwei, from this day forth, you shall be regarded by others as a deranged lunatic, and no one will believe you. He commanded Zhang Guilan to cover my mouth while he dialed Lawyer Chen in front of me. He declared that I was suffering from severe postpartum depression and requested the withdrawal of the divorce application. The response was swift. Understood, Mr. Gu. He subsequently called my parents, claiming that I was mentally unstable and a danger to myself, asserting that they would not be able to recognize anyone but him, and that he intended to send me to a sanatorium for treatment, prohibiting any visitation for the time being. Without hesitation, my parents believed his words. After hanging up, he looked down at me with an air of superiority. Shin Jiwei, did you hear that? You are now in my grasp. It would be wise for you to comply. Otherwise, should anything unfortunate happen to your daughter, the consequences would be dire. In that moment, the man with whom I had shared my bed for 3 years morphed into a demon. Blood trickled from the corner of my split lip as I gritted my teeth and retorted, Gu Luqing, are you still human? How can you threaten me with our child? She is your daughter too. Gu Luqing sneered, you know I have more than one daughter. Despair washed over me, and I regretted not believing my daughter's words sooner, insisting on gathering evidence before proceeding with the divorce. Now, I had placed both myself and her in such perilous circumstances. In my hopelessness, I heard my daughter's voice. Mommy, don't be afraid. Lawyer Chen and Grandpa and Grandma are here to rescue us. I looked at my daughter in astonishment. She was waving her little hand as if beckoning to me. Just then, the sound of the door opening echoed from the entrance. My parents, possessing a key to our home, rushed in, followed closely by Lawyer Chen and several police officers. My parents lifted me from the floor, and upon seeing my condition, tears of concern filled their eyes. Gu Luqing, regaining his composure, said in a calm yet frantic manner, Mom and Dad, Shin Jiwei is suffering from severe postpartum depression and could harm others. You should leave quickly. Rest assured, I will take good care of her. My father's expression darkened as he glared fiercely at Gu Luqing, saying, Do you think a few lies can deceive us? I know better than anyone how strong my daughter is. My mother pointed her finger at Gu Luqing, rebuking him, You heartless wretch. How dare you treat Shin Jiwei this way? Do you think our family is powerless? Gu Luqing, taken aback, incredulously replied, But you just believed me over the phone. Lawyer Chen adjusted his glasses and interjected, After receiving your call, I attempted to reach President Shin, but her phone was unreachable. When she contacted me today, she was lucid and coherent, not at all like someone with mental issues. I sensed something amiss and decided to call her parents. They too were suspicious. So we came together. Gu Luqing realized he had been outmaneuvered, his face flushed with anger. You plotted against me. But so what? Shin Jiwei is my wife. What can you do to me? I haven't committed any crime. Why are the police here? After regaining my breath, I addressed the officers. Officer, I wish to report that Gu Luqing has abused me during my confinement. He has allowed his mistress's mother to come to my home and mistreat both me and our daughter. He seeks to imprison my freedom under the guise of postpartum depression. Please arrest both Gu Luqing and Zhang Guilan. The officers, already briefed, wasted no time in handcuffing the two. Zhang Guilan, her plump body struggling against restraint, screamed. I merely slapped that wretched woman a couple of times. Why are you arresting me? I can pay her off. Gu Luqing has plenty of money. Let me go. I need to call my daughter. No one paid her any heed. Gu Luqing scolded her sharply, be quiet. Then he turned to me and said, Shen Jiwei. You are my wife. Even if I did abuse you, what of it? I can have a lawyer out the same day. Lawyer Chen stepped forward, producing a prepared divorce agreement. With a refined demeanor, he stated, while domestic violence may be difficult to prosecute, it is sufficient as evidence for divorce. Coupled with the prenuptial agreement you willingly signed, the party at fault will leave with nothing. President Shin will dissolve the marriage and obtain custody of the child along with all marital assets, including property, savings, and company shares. Oh, and we will also seek restitution for any assets given to the third party during the marriage. Gu Luqing, as if struck at his core, raised his voice. By what right? Those assets were earned through my own efforts. I refuse to accept this. I will hire a lawyer and fight. Shen Jiwei, you vengeful woman. If you wish to leave, take your child with you. You will not get a single penny from me. My father pointed angrily at him, Gu Luqing. I truly misjudged you. If it weren't for Shen Jiwei, would our family have invested so wholeheartedly in your development? Do you really believe all of this was achieved solely by your merit? If it weren't for my private dealings that secured you numerous projects and investments, your company would have collapsed countless times due to your arrogance and empty rhetoric. Shen Jiwei has protected your pride, not allowing us to reveal the truth. You really think of yourself as a business genius? In my eyes, being a project manager would be a compliment. Gu Luqing's face darkened at these words, and he shook his head vehemently. Impossible. Everything I have is due to my own capability. I could manage without your help. I know you have always looked down on me, trying to belittle me. Divorce, fine. I have long had enough of you. Just as my father was about to retort, I feared for his health and quickly intervened to calm him, urging him to let it go. The scoundrel wasn't worth the trouble. I then turned to Gu Luqing and said, since you are so confident in your abilities, I look forward to seeing how you will start again from nothing. I will have lawyer Chen file for divorce. If you disagree, we can settle this in court. As they were led away by the police, Zhang Guilan stretched her neck. Spitting and cursing at me, you wretched woman, stealing from others, you will not have a good end. Just wait, my daughter will come for you. I chose not to look at them any longer. After confirming my injuries at the hospital, I returned to my parents' home with my daughter. At that moment, I finally felt a sense of relief. My daughter could finally have a good night's sleep after being so frightened today. I tenderly kissed her little face, and she responded with delightful giggles. Wow, mommy smells so good. The scoundrel and the bad people have been caught. From now on, I will be the treasure of this family, hee. I couldn't help but smile, revealing the first genuine smile of the day. Indeed, Gu Luqing was taught a lesson and soon emerged from the police station. Meanwhile, I had entrusted lawyer Chen to file for divorce in court. Gu Luqing secured a professional legal team to contest the divorce, adamantly opposing a clean break. However, with irrefutable evidence of his infidelity and the existence of an illegitimate daughter, along with the legally certified prenuptial agreement, he had no grounds for defense. Ultimately, he was ordered to leave with nothing, his assets frozen, and was given a deadline to vacate our villa. On the day he was forcibly removed, I had just completed my confinement and went with a bodyguard to witness the spectacle. Gu Luqing appeared utterly disheveled, no longer resembling the elite CEO he once was, and his mistress Su Xinxin was present as well. When I arrived, he was engaged in a heated argument with the enforcement officers. Mr. Gu, aside from clothing, these valuable items are considered marital property. You cannot take them. These are all my personal belongings, and I intend to take them with me. Please step aside. I regret to inform you that you must leave those watches and jewelry behind. They are my possessions, so kindly get out of my way. Gu Luqing, upon seeing me, erupted in fury, shouting, Shen Jiwei, did you instigate them to intentionally make things difficult for me? You have already taken away all my assets. Must you be so ruthless? I shrugged nonchalantly, responding with an indifferent demeanor. This is the court's ruling. It has nothing to do with me. However, the watch you wish to take is worth millions. which certainly seems inappropriate. I addressed the bodyguards, saying, since he refuses to cooperate, please assist him. Gu Luqing was restrained by one of the bodyguards while others rifled through his belongings, removing all valuables and leaving him with only a few pieces of clothing. Su Xinxin, her eyes red with anger, rushed towards me, hissing, Shen Jiwei, you wretched woman. On what grounds do you take away the bags and jewelry Gu Luqing bought for me? They were gifts from him. Your heart is utterly black. Having stolen our possessions, are you not afraid of retribution for you and your child? She attempted to lash out at me, but a bodyguard swiftly intervened, pushing her to the ground. I looked down at her, a smirk playing on my lips. Su Xinxin, how can a grown woman like you lack even a shred of legal knowledge? Everything here is rightfully mine. While the money you received from being Gu Luqing's mistress is the truly tainted wealth. If retribution exists, it will surely find you. Su Xinxin's eyes sparkled with envy as she defiantly retorted, Shen Jiwei, do not rejoice too soon. Although you have acquired everything, you have forever lost Gu Luqing. I believe that with his capabilities, he will rise again, and you will regret your actions when that time comes. I couldn't help but applaud mockingly. A cold smile gracing my features. How touching. I wish you two impoverished souls eternal happiness. Having finished my remarks, I urged them to vacate my territory promptly. Once released by the bodyguards, Gu Luqing gazed at the discarded clothing on the floor, which lay in disarray like rags, yet he did not bend down to retrieve them. Clenching his fists tightly, his face flushed with humiliation, he defiantly spoke, Shen Jiwei, do not underestimate me. I have cultivated numerous connections over the years. And on the day I become the wealthiest, you will surely regret this. With that, he turned on his heel, preparing to leave. I called out, Gu Luqing. Wait a moment. He halted, a scornful smirk curling at his lips as he replied, what now? Are you regretting your decisions? If you kneel and apologize to me, I might consider forgiving you. As long as you obey me from now on, I can provide you and your child with a complete family. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me, frowning as I pointed at the watch on his wrist. I called you to leave that watch behind as well. Gu Luqing's face turned crimson. In his fury, he ripped the watch from his wrist and smashed it on the ground, gritting his teeth as he exclaimed, Shen Jiwei, you have gone too far. I will make you beg for mercy. I no longer wished to reside in this villa and quickly sold it. I moved in with my daughter and parents, planning to resume managing the company once my health improved. Previously, I had merely held a titular position as a director, leaving most decisions to Gu Luqing. Only in particularly significant matters did I offer suggestions to correct his obstinacy and reckless behavior. After taking over, I swiftly dismissed the sycophantic team that had catered to Gu Luqing, replacing them with individuals who truly possessed competence. Contrary to everyone's fears, the company did not experience any upheaval. Rather, its efficiency soared and rewards and punishments were clearly delineated. Many expressed their regret that had I assumed leadership earlier, the company would undoubtedly have prospered even more. I awaited Gu Luqing's grand resurgence, but he remained stagnant. After leaving my home with nothing, he was determined to make a name for himself, reaching out to former partners and friends. However, word of his departure from the Shen family had already spread through the circles. Previously, people had indulged him out of respect for the Shen family, appeasing this naive man with wealth, allowing him to believe in his own abilities and charm. When Gu Luqing called them for investment, some hung up immediately, while others mocked him mercilessly. Gu Luqing, take a good look at yourself. You were once pampered because of your wealth, but what do you have now? You have squandered your chance as the golden son-in-law of the Shen family and turned yourself into a laughingstock. If you find yourself starving, my restaurant is looking for a dishwashing hand, huh? Gu Luqing, enraged, contemplated smashing his phone but refrained, realizing he had no money to buy a new one. Now, he and Su Xinxin were crammed into Zhang Guilan's old house, faced with her increasingly sullen demeanor, and he felt an overwhelming sense of despair. He began to regret and reminisce about the days spent with me. Gu Luqing tugged at his hair in frustration, deciding to take a step back and seek employment. Given his qualifications, securing a managerial position should have been a breeze. He did receive several interview opportunities, where he spoke confidently, embellishing his experiences. Believing success was assured, he was met with rejection from every position. It turned out that in recent years, his greatest skill had been basking in the compliments of others' reports, having never engaged in any hands-on work. To the interviewers, he appeared as nothing more than an empty boast. After a fruitless day of interviews, Gu Luqing returned to his temporary residence. Zhang Guilan remarked sarcastically, "You've been living off me, eating and staying without earning a penny. I wonder when this will come to an end." Gu Luqing's forehead throbbed with frustration, yet he remained silent. As he sat down on the sofa, yearning for a sip of water, Su Xinxin, disheveled, thrust the child into his arms, impatiently declaring, "You come home and just sit on the sofa? Am I the only one responsible for the child? You could at least help out. You take care of her, change her diaper. I need a break. My back is killing me." Gu Luqing felt an inferno ignite within him, retorting angrily, "Taking care of the child is a woman's duty. I am destined for greatness. And you expect me to change diapers?" Su Xinxin, fed up with his attitude, no longer possessed her previous gentleness and sharply replied, "It's been 2 months. What great achievements have you made? You haven't earned a single penny and are still spending our money. I see now that Shen Jiwei was right. You are nothing but a useless waste, dependent on her family for everything. How could I have been so blind to trust you?" Enraged, Gu Luqing raised his hand as if to strike her, but Zhang Guilan forcefully shoved him away. "You good for nothing, how dare you strike my daughter? If you don't want to stay here, then get out." Gu Luqing, rendered speechless by fury, pointed at the two of them, his fingers trembling. "Fine. If I leave, I won't be coming back." Gu Luqing slammed the door as he departed, and no one attempted to stop him. Drenched in rain, he wandered through the night, gazing at the twinkling lights of other homes, unable to suppress memories of the days spent with me. Back then, he was successful in his career and surrounded by admiration, with a loving wife waiting at home. No matter how late he returned, I always left a light on for him. How blissful he had been. Gu Luqing felt immense regret. In a moment of impulse, he sought to find me. Upon arriving at the villa, he discovered it had been sold. He then rushed to my parents' home and knocked on the door. I opened it to find a drenched Gu Luqing, looking like a drowned rat. He raised his tear-filled eyes, his expression fragile, and earnestly pleaded, "Shen Jiwei, I miss you. I regret my actions. Can you forgive me?" I regarded him calmly, holding his gaze for several moments. "Gu Luhen, we are already divorced. We are but strangers now. Your regrets are of no concern to me. Should you find yourself feeling empty, lonely, or cold, seek solace with your mistress, but do not disturb me." As I attempt to close the door, he blocks it with his hand, his voice urgent, "Shen Jiwei, I acknowledge my mistakes. I was momentarily blinded and fell into the common pitfalls that men often encounter. I have genuinely repented now. Grant me another chance, and I shall be a devoted husband and father henceforth." I remain unmoved, resolutely stating, "It is too late. A tarnished man does not merit my regard. The mere sight of you now repulses me. You are unwelcome here, so please leave, or I shall summon security." As I pry his hand away and once more attempt to shut the door, unexpectedly, Gu Luhen kneels before me, clasping my leg and weeping openly, "Shen Jiwei, please do not cast me aside. I truly have nowhere else to go. My thoughts and heart are solely occupied by you. Do not be so cruel. For the sake of our daughter, will you not forgive me? Let us provide her with a complete family. I cannot bear to part with you both." I forcefully shove him away, frowning as I coldly retort, "Gu Luhen, are you lamenting our loss or the lavish lifestyle you are relinquishing? You know the truth. When you sought to exchange our daughter for your illegitimate child, you forfeited your right to be her father. I shall say this once more, leave." Gu Luhen stubbornly clings on, yearning for the softness I once bestowed upon him. Security arrives promptly, and I instruct them, "I have divorced this man. Do not allow him entry into the community again." "Understood. We will ensure he no longer disturbs you," they reply, as they drag the struggling Gu Luhen away. He continues to plead for my forgiveness, but I do not cast him a glance as I turn and shut the door. In that moment, the warmth of my home and the coldness outside seem to exist in entirely different realms. Ultimately, Gu Luhen finds work as a laborer, but his arrogance renders him careless and uncommitted. After receiving a scathing reprimand from his employer, he cannot contain his anger and resorts to violence, leading to his arrest. Released from the police station, he seeks refuge in a bar, drowning his sorrows in alcohol. Drunken and disheveled, he stumbles back to the residence he shares with Su Xinxin, where both she and Zhang Guilan berate him for his lack of ambition, regretting their misguided choices. In a fit of rage fueled by liquor, Gulu Hen storms into the kitchen, brandishing a kitchen knife and pursuing the two women, resulting in a cacophony of screams echoing throughout the house. It is not long before the neighbors, alarmed, call the police. When the officers break down the door, they are met with a scene of bloodshed and the lifeless bodies of the two women, prompting their immediate arrest of Gulu Hen. Ultimately, he is convicted of intentional homicide and sentenced to death. In his final moments, he wishes to see me, but I simply decline with indifference. Once I have left the refuse of my past, I shall not look back. I will raise our daughter with care, for many beautiful days still lie ahead for us. The end. Thank you for listening. I look forward to our next story.